After living in Monrovia for 10 years now, I've learned a lot about this town, the good things, the bad things, the pros and cons of living here, and that's what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to go over everything you should know about moving to Monrovia so you can determine whether or not it's the right place for you to move to. So let's just jump right in. Hey everyone, my name is Eddie Brady, a realtor here in Maryland, and if this is your first time visiting the channel, thank you for being here. I make videos like this every single week about the best places to live, the best neighborhoods, the market updates, and everything you should know before moving here. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. All right, so just a couple quick facts about Monrovia if you are not familiar with the town. It's located in southeast Frederick County. It's surrounded by towns like Urbana, New Market, Mount Airy, Damascus, and Ijamsville. It's about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Frederick, about 45 minutes from downtown Baltimore, about 40 minutes to Fort Meade, about an hour to downtown DC, and about an hour to downtown Annapolis. And it's a somewhat smaller town with a population of just over 7,000 residents, but it has the potential to grow significantly in the coming years. So what are the good and the bad things about living here? Well, I'll kick it off with the first pro, which I think most people agree with, and that's the schools. And that's because Monrovia is located in the Frederick County public school system, which is one of the most desired public school systems to be a part of in all of Maryland. And at the time of this video, they're currently districted to two different high school feeder systems, one being Urbana High School and one being Linganore High School. And Urbana is currently ranked the #1 public high school in Frederick County, with Linganore being ranked either 4th or 5th, depending on which ranking source you're looking at. And what most residents aren't even aware of yet is that Frederick County Public Schools just bought a parcel of land in the center of Monrovia to build a brand new high school. It's slated to open in 2033. It's going to be on over 100 acres of land, right behind the current Truist Bank at the intersection of 75 and 80. And this is a huge development for Monrovia and can really affect the residents living here. So with some of the top high schools in Frederick County and now a brand new high school on the way, that means there's a lot of demand to live in this area, which brings us to our second pro, which is the housing market. And niche.com ranks Monrovia as the 4th best place in Maryland to buy a house. And at the time of this video, the median home price sits at $627,500. And at first, that might seem like a con because it's about $200,000 more than the Maryland median home price. But there are a lot of pros that go along with this. And that's because I see significant potential for the long-term investment in Monrovia. If you buy a house here, I think you're going to see healthy appreciation in your home for decades to come. It's not an area that's going to get popular and then fade out like COVID towns that we saw. It's a place that's going to stay in demand due to this location, and think with a new high school on the way, it's only going to get better. And the third pro of living in Monrovia is the location. We have easy access to highways. We can get to the major cities fairly easily. You have options of where to shop if you want to go over to Damascus or up to Mount Airy or over to Frederick or even New Market. It is really easy to get to all these towns, or even Urbana right down Route 80. Just so many options. We've always felt like we have every grocery store we need in the area, every restaurant we need in the area, and we've just never felt like there's something that was just too far away when we really needed it. We've also always enjoyed how close it is to places where you can go hiking and mountain biking and kayaking. You're only just a few minutes away from Little Bennett Regional Park, a few minutes away from Black Hills Regional Park, which has a massive lake that you can go boating in, and we're not far from the Noxie River, we're not far from Frederick Watershed, so it's really an ideal location where you're not going to feel like it's a significant drive to almost any outdoor activity you want to do. And the reason you wouldn't just move into Frederick to be closer to those places brings us to our fourth pro, which is that it has a suburban and a rural feel. Residents in Monrovia like that they had a choice of the suburban feel or the rural feel, being surrounded by farmland. And that's one of the benefits of living here is you can be close to everything you need, but not feel like you're in the middle of it all. You can walk out your door and see farmland, or if you want to live in a place like Lansdale, which is a planned community, you can walk out your door, and even in a massive community with about 1,000 homes, it still does not feel like a busy place to live. But there are some downsides to living in Monrovia, and I think the #1 thing that stands out to me, that inside of Monrovia itself, there's not a lot of shopping and dining options. We have a couple of locations in the Green Valley Shopping Center that you can go and eat, and a place called Wilkins Inn, which is at the corner of 75 and 80, which is a well-established restaurant, very popular to go to. But outside of that, there is not much shopping and dining. There's no grocery store in Monrovia itself yet. We may end up getting one at that same intersection where Wilkins Inn is at. It could be a Weiss grocery store. It's still under contract. They're not sure if it'll go through, but if it does, that would bring a grocery store store finally to Monrovia with some restaurants. They haven't decided which ones yet, and an additional gas station would be in that development as well. So if you're looking to have those things more immediately outside of your front door, maybe within walking distance, you'd want to check out a nearby town like Urbana, which I've made a video on, and I'll link it right above so you can check that out after this video. But Monrovia itself, like I said, even with getting a grocery store, even with getting a couple more restaurants, it's not going to be that full of amenities like that. And the second con of living in Monrovia is, while I mentioned all of those great things to do nearby, there are not that many things to do in Monrovia itself. Yes, we have some parks and with playgrounds and things like that, but we don't have any major county parks or hiking trails or mountain biking trails in Monrovia itself. So you're going to have to travel pretty much everywhere else for that kind of thing. And the third con of living in Monrovia is something that could potentially happen well after you move in, and that's something called the Monrovia Town Center. Now, this is a massive development that was proposed over a decade ago now that was shot down because residents became so outraged at the potential of this community going in, of over 1,500 homes right at the intersection of 75 and 80. They thought the infrastructure couldn't hold it. The roads weren't prepared for it, which they really weren't. And since then, they put a moratorium on the build, but that's about to be up where they can repropose this to the county. And if it gets approved, it would significantly change the look and feel of Monrovia. And another thing to consider here is that they would need to build more schools. Yes, they're getting a brand new high school in Monrovia, but that might become overcrowded. They already are well over capacity in some of the nearby elementary schools. So it's something to consider. It could be a big con if a community of that size went in without the proper infrastructure. But just to put it into perspective here, we're in Maryland, where when you have a very popular school district, you're going to have developments happening around them. The population is growing in Maryland. The population around public schools that are highly rated is growing. So Monrovia is just next on the list to see that growth. And I think a lot of areas in Frederick County are already seeing that. Neighboring counties like Montgomery County has been dealing with overcrowding in schools for years, and even nearby Howard County had to put a construction moratorium in place in recent years to curb how many new students were entering their schools. So it's just something to expect living in Maryland near highly rated public schools, and I don't think it's a huge reason to deter you from moving to Monrovia. So that's a quick list, the pros and cons of living in Monrovia. Let me know in the comments below. Would you move here? Or if you're a resident here already, what did I miss? What are the good things and the bad things about living in Monrovia? Put them in the comments below. It helps everyone who's considering moving here make that decision. And if that's you and you're considering moving to Monrovia or the surrounding areas, I would be happy to help you with your move. Connecting with me is as simple as going in the description or in the comments below and clicking on the link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, and I'll be happy to get a plan together for you and your move. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.